February 1st, 2021. Hello, my name's Tom Yakupin, and this is the Tom Yakupin Podcast. Boy, it's a snowy day here in Western Pennsylvania, so wherever you are listening to this or watching this online, if you enjoy the cold and the snow, today's a great day to get out. I did some of that. In fact, my producer struggled to get up my very long and steep driveway, so I was just out on it. Barely got up in the four-wheel drive myself. So it's always a fun challenge when Mother Nature throws cold, snow, now what's becoming ice at you. Anyway, so that kind of ties right into today's topic. It's interesting. Many of you know I've shared with you before. I don't ever really want to make this an infomercial, but I am a small business owner, and I've enjoyed visiting with a lot of different self-employed individuals, entrepreneurs. Mark Caskey we had early in the year. Let's see, my neighbor up here, Jason Lewicki, Cool Valley Cycles. Mark's, of course, with Steel Nation Buildings in the gas and oil business. Jim McClellan, Yesco Contracting. We've had Nancy Griffith on, personal fitness and training. And others, Jim Shorkey, talking really about success. And that's what I want to do. And by the way, this is an invite to you. If you have a small business, especially if you're in the local area here, Western Pennsylvania, although that doesn't have to be a criteria, and you'd like to be featured, you'd like to hop on, visit with me, let's have good conversation about your business, what you did to build it, what it is that you do, you know, how you have achieved success and things of that nature that you might find beneficial for my listening audience, who's primarily, you're going to find that most of the people buying into or watching our podcast, listening to our podcast, buying into our narrative are going to be the mom and pop shop, the self-employed, the entrepreneur, etc. Whether it is because of, you know, our topics in general or because of my marketing. But at any rate, I'm a small business owner. I'm in the healthcare and financial services business. In fact, West Penn Life and Health, 1100 Washington Road, is an agency that I own. Little building there. It's been there forever. Was prior to us moving in 4 years ago. It was the DeLuca DeZomba Insurance Agency. A friend of mine, Frank DeZomba, who's going to be 94 this year. Be great to interview old Frank if we could get him to talk for more than a few minutes on the camera. But what a deep well he is, and what a blessing to have him as a gentleman that can answer questions and so forth. But that's one agency that I own. But actually, the larger outfit that I'm involved in is a corporation called New Era Health Plans. And that's a national marketing organization, an independent field marketing organization representing Philadelphia American Life Insurance Company and their best-in-class underage health insurance portfolio. And my role there, interestingly enough, I'm both the president of that company. Now, that's an independent distribution channel. We're not the insurance company. We are a national distribution channel in business with Philadelphia American, who, by the way, is owned by New Era Life Insurance Group. But our sales and marketing organization distributes products. So my number one job as the national marketing director, right, is I'm constantly looking for talent. Whether an individual, I think a week ago we had on an individual that we recruited and brought in from the television industry, Shernice Wilson, who is affiliated with West Penn Life and Health. Or I have agents and agencies all across the United States that have chosen to partner with me because of the Philadelphia American product portfolio being very attractive, especially in this day and age, to the working middle class. But my organization helps put these people into business. In other words, if you're in the healthcare and financial services business in California or Arizona or Utah or, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Florida, Georgia, all over the country, we will run ads. We will talk with people about innovative, forward-thinking products that they can make available to individuals in their community, probably to people they already know, people that are already counting on them for advice or products or whatever. And these are forward-thinking products. But to succeed in business, it takes much more than a quality product. I mean, if you're a doctor and you go to medical school and you get your credentials to hang on the wall, that's wonderful. But unless or until you have clients or patients to treat, it doesn't mean much. Your education, the knowledge you have is probably much the same as everybody else that went to the same school you did, or what have you. If you are selling motorcycles, like my friend Brad Barnes Brothers down in Canonsburg. I mean, he's selling KTM and Kawasaki and Yamaha. They're really no different than any other dealer in town that has KTM or whatever. So the entrepreneurs, just like in my business, they need a business plan. What makes Barnes Brothers successful? What makes, one outfit more successful than another when in fact both outfits are distributing or selling the same products or providing the same services, whether it's the beauty industry, such as two daughters that I have, Jennifer and Audrey, both cosmetologists. How do they succeed when in fact, frankly, everybody's license and training is relatively similar? So this is what I do with people that come to Tom Yakopin or New Era Health Plans and want to become successful in the healthcare and financial services business. In fact, today, what I'm going to be sharing with you are points that are transferable. They're not exclusively for insurance agents or for people wanting to grow a marketing agency. These are transferable principles that will apply to you whether you're in fitness, whether you're selling cars or motorcycles, boats, whether you're in the agribusiness, whether you're a startup bank or a contracting company or window repair, replacement sales and marketing organization. I don't care what it is that you're doing. There are certain fundamentals that are imperative and that really are quite amazing once you learn them, because they can be used in almost any area of your business: personal development, fitness, setting, and keeping your own budget, being committed to your own wealth and accumulating your own wealth, in building a mission statement for your family. But today was an exceptionally good day. Our team nationally did just over 450,000 in sales for the week. And I was going through our leaderboard and I was congratulating our top salespeople, some of which did 49,700 for 1 week. Another sales rep do over 45,000 in Ohio. Catherine was in Illinois. The second was Ohio. Another in Ohio, another 30,000. Another gentleman in Arkansas, 30,000. A gentleman in Philly, 25,000. This is all sales volume for the week. So that was a great way to start a meeting. And then we recognized our top agency owners or leaders. And again, the numbers there were fantastic. And that's one of the things that I do, is do a weekly attaboy or autopsy on my sales and marketing organization's production activity. What did they do? And that's one of the things that I'm going to get to today, which I believe should help you as far as understanding keys to personal success, keys to business success, keys to a successful enterprise. So let's begin with number one. One of the things that I believe is super important with anything you do. If you are a young person, you just graduated high school. If you're a young person, you're going into or just graduated college. If you're an individual on the brink of launching an enterprise, number one thing, one of the most important pieces of advice I can give you is take time, set some time aside, get a blank piece of paper or a whole tablet of pieces of paper, and turn off your phone, your television. Maybe go hide away in a cabin somewhere like a monk, but write down what it is that you want. You have to know what you want. And can I tell you what I believe? I believe that too few people on planet Earth know what they want. What do I want out of what? Out of life. What do you want out of your business? What do you want out of your relationships? Are you in business to gain wealth? What do you want with that wealth? What do you want? Because your want, that driving desire, that burning drive, ambition, and desire that says, I am going to embark on something. And by the way, building any business, I don't care what it is, it will be challenging, okay? It is not easy. It's called busyness for a reason. It's not called happiness. People don't say, I'm going to start a happiness today. It's a business, and that business can be challenging. It'll bring you happiness if you do it right. But here's the thing, knowing what you want, it's quite interesting how important this is. And if you study the sages in business development or the sages in just wisdom, whether it's Marcus Aurelius, an old Roman emperor who was known to be a pragmatic thinker, right? Or whether it's Ben Franklin, or whether it's Napoleon Hill, as we were talking about several weeks ago. Every one of these people will tell you knowing what you want, super important. Why? Because it is like knowing where you want to go, just like hopping on a plane. Who would feel comfortable getting on a plane with a pilot that doesn't have a flight plan, where you have no real agenda, unless the agenda is merely a 45-minute joyride? But I mean, you know what I'm talking about. We get on a plane because we have a game plan. I want to fly from here to Arkansas to do a boot camp with the Pat Davis Agency, or I want to fly from here to Draper to, because they've promised me that if I hop on this plane, flight number so-and-so at this time, I'll get to Draper, Utah, at thus and such time. You have a game plan. You know what you want. You understand what you're getting out of the time or the investment of what you're putting in. And it is amazing to me how many people, just with life in general, have taken so very little time to imagine, to use the imagination that the Creator's given you to kind of preview your future and make decisions and determinations along the way of what that future might look like. A mentor friend of mine said that he was convinced, that life is not really built by circumstances. It's not based on chance, but actually life is built by choice, not chance. Now, that's not to say that there aren't things that are going to happen or come your way that you didn't bank on. Okay, you can mark that down. That should be in your business plan. Write down and expect the unexpected, right? But the vast majority of where you wind up, the vast majority of how your life looks in 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years, or your business enterprise, is going to be because of the choices that you've made. So it's important that you know what you want. Why? Because unless or until you know that and you have it crystallized in writing, it'll be very difficult to really follow through with any of the other things that I believe are very important. Now, a couple of things that I want to specify on knowing what you want. Number one, it's been studied and thus concluded that people with goals achieve more than those without goals. Okay? Number two, it's also been concluded that people who take the time to write down their goals with specificity actually accomplish much more than those with just goals, although having a goal. I want to build a house, I want to build a business, I want to get married. Those are fine, but the individuals that drill down on, think of the process of building a house. Do we want a colonial or a ranch? Do we want a duplex, or do we want a single family dwelling? Do we want brick or do we want siding? I mean, you dream a thing. You use your imagination to determine what you want. And then you apply the disciplines, the blueprints, right? The specifics. And that is where the design and the blueprint comes in. And then you hand that blueprint to a contractor who brings to pass with great specificity exactly what you envision, so that at the end of the day, you wind up with what you wanted. We understand that's how a house is built. In fact, sage wisdom, I believe, I remember years ago reading a proverb, I think it's in the 23rd chapter, it says, by wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge the rooms of that house are filled with pleasant and precious riches. There's a way to build a house, and there's a way to build your life, and there's a way to build your business. And it really includes knowing what you want, but then taking it to that next level and getting specific and writing it down. Very, very important. And I'm not going to belabor the point. Either you do or you don't. Either you will or you won't. Either you get it or you don't get it. Either it matters to you or it doesn't. But I can promise you that the many men and women that I have had the privilege of walking with, of asking, how did you accomplish this? Without fail. These are people that know what they want. They know how they're going to bring it to pass with great specificity, and they've written it down. Here's a number two key thing that I want to mention to you, and that is this. That's focus. Okay. Now, I asked Brad to put a couple of these slides up because I think they're creative. You can't see them at this moment, but you will. Focus is a powerful tool. Once you know what you want and what it's going to look like, and you've felt the emotions of bringing that to pass, both the pain and the pleasure. Here's what I'm going to get out of doing this. By the way, here's the pain that it's going to cost me if I don't. And I believe you should evaluate and let both of them, knock on the heart on the door of your heart, right? Here's what I'm going to get if I do this. By the way, here's what I'm going to give up. Here's what it's going to cost my family, my friends, my kids, my grandkids, my estate if I don't. But here's a powerful maxim. A mentor said this to me years ago in the Midwest at a business conference. He believed, and he was a professional who would be hired by businesses, individuals, high net worth individuals for coaching. He would even travel the globe and speak to emerging governments about how they could improve efficiencies. I mean, this was a guy who studied relationships pretty well. But he said he concluded after helping a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of organizations, that the number one reason for failure is broken focus. Therefore, the most important thing following knowing what you want is focus. Focus. I'm telling you, especially in the insurance business. One of the challenges to my career early on, and I had some success the first 3 years of my career, but I must tell you, I was not focused enough. I had too many options, too many other things, too many competing voices, too many hobbies, and I valued too little my goal of success and achieving wealth, to be very frank with you. And it wasn't until I learned to focus, to become more specific on what I wanted, by what time and how I was going to get it. And then with focus, it helped me do two things. Really focus on what I wanted, but also know what to say no to. You see, early on in life, it's pretty easy once you get up and going to say, okay, this is good, this is not good. Life has a lot of those decisions in it, right? Should I eat the apple or the Snickers bar, right? Should I work out tonight at 7:00 with Melissa or shouldn't I? I mean, a lot of decisions, good, not so good. But as you become more successful and things become more critical, you're going to find that you're not making easy decisions between good and bad. You're making more challenging decisions like super productive and inside of my mission statement and everything else. Becomes more difficult, but it is equally, in fact, more important to know what to say no to and focus, having those goals, having great specificity in those goals, and then looking at and building a mission statement around those goals, and then focusing on that. Wow. Now things get serious. You see, Alexander Graham Bell is quoted as saying, concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to focus. Tell you a funny story about focus. When I was a kid, my dad had one of those magnifying glasses. In fact, it's upstairs. I used it on my sales meeting today. We did Zoom, and with all the snow, I was working from home. But I remember taking that magnifying glass out as a kid on a particularly hot summer day. I was typically rather bored when I got to this point for any kind of entertainment. But I would take it out and find something like a leaf. And I learned as a Cub Scout that I could take the sun's rays and focus them with this magnifying glass, and it works, and burn a hole right in the thing, get some twigs and sticks cooking. That was fun. Occasionally fry a grasshopper if I could find one, or whatever other poor creature that I could find roaming around in my yard, typical ornery 8-year-old. But I found that focus, wow, that light, the sun, if we capture that rather diffused ray and focus it like a laser, wow, it's a whole different instrument. When I was in college in New England, 1985 through 1987, I met a small business owner up there who had a business called Lennox Laser. And they had all these sophisticated lasers. It looked like a machine shop, but people would hire him. Manufacturers would hire him to drill like micro holes in specific locations in products that they were selling that could only be achieved with laser results, laser precision, right? And this is the power of focus. Very often people, I think, miss the value of less is more, minimalization. In the insurance business, the first 3 years of my career, I got what I call 3,000 feet wide and a half-inch deep. I had too much stuff going on. And many of the things I had going on were not mission critical. Another thing that I learned in this power of focus business is keeping the main thing. The main thing is really important when you're in a niche business. And most businesses today, in order to succeed, are niche businesses. I don't care if you're a doctor in the medical practice. I don't care if you're an attorney practicing law. You're going to find, you look around, physicians specialize today, podiatrists, chiropractic, surgeon, anesthesiology. People specialize. That's niche marketing. And that means that you want to become outstanding in a particular area, but you got to let the rest go because it's very difficult, right? To be excellent, outstanding in many disciplines. So focus is very, very important. Knowing what you want. What do I want out of this business? What do I want out of a 30-year career in medicine? What do I want out of starting my own practice? What do I want out of building an agency or a production company or any other thing? What do I want out of it? And then specifying, right? How am I going to build it? Begin with the end in mind. In my opinion, work backwards. Activity, commitments, right? By when, setting dates on these dreams and goals so that they become real. But then focusing on it. Now, here's another one, and this is a powerful, powerful one. The point number 3 is commitment, okay? Commitment. So I know what I want. I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to let go of everything else. This is important to me, but now I've got to commit to it. Now, I want to talk with you a little bit about this word commitment, okay? What it means. And this is just a simple definition you can find online. I found this, I believe, at Merriam-Webster's online. And commitment, as they put it, means what? Dedication, devotion, allegiance, loyalty, faithfulness, fidelity, bond, adherence, attentiveness, a pledge or undertaking. Okay, a commitment. Wow, that's powerful. A promise, a pledge, a covenant. It is an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. I can't tell you how many times that I've met committed men and women to a calling or an enterprise or a vision or something, whether it's a small business or a large business or a political endeavor. How many times do you hear the outstanding say, thank you for the invitation to the party, or thank you for the invitation to go hear the band, or thank you for the invitation to go out to dinner, but I can't because I have an obligation with my business. You see, one of the things that's challenging and perhaps even uncomfortable with this concept of knowing what I want, setting those goals, being accountable, we're going to get there, and then, of course, focusing and now committing, right, is that it's restricting. There's a price to pay, by the way, which is why so many entrepreneurs are so very careful and cautious to protect their wealth, to protect their enterprise. Why? Because it's cost them something to become committed and to remain committed over a long period of time to bring to pass the success of their business. Now, having studied for a moment there, I gave you some key words to the definition, but I think now that we are on the same page with the word commitment, let's talk about how important and maybe how that works in life. Like, for example, we all love sports. I would say that most of you, myself, music, sports, the arts, we can say that in any of those areas of our life, there are, there's the good, there's the excellent, and then there's the outstanding. On this particular slide, I happen to be, as a Steelers fan, looking at a picture of old number 43, Troy Polamalu, who I think we would all agree was outstanding in the football business. But I want you to think about whether football, baseball, hockey, boxing, what kind of commitment do these athletes, what kind of commitment do these musicians, what kind of commitment does a boxer like Muhammad Ali have to make to a career such as boxing? How do these men and women become outstanding? Well, I'll tell you, they make an unusual commitment that includes focus. They certainly know what they want to be. You ask Muhammad Ali, or you listen to any of his rants from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, he wanted to be what? Champion of the world. Okay, he knew what he wanted out of his commitment, and he focused, and he was committed and remained committed to his endeavor throughout his life. And I will tell you, whether it is football, baseball, hockey, boxing, sales and marketing, the health insurance business, in order to be outstanding, folks, okay, you really must be committed. Some of these athletes, if you think about it, get up at 4 and 5 in the morning every day to work out. They're never really off season. They never just throw their physical health away. They're constantly training and eating right. And so it is in almost any discipline, whether it's a surgeon, the commitment that an anesthesiologist must make who's on call with a well-known hospital. If he gets a call for surgery at 2 in the morning, he may well have to get up and do that, okay? And so commitment. You see where I'm going with this. I'm going to land the plane here rather quickly. And number 4 is accountability. What's accountability? Accountability is holding yourself accountable weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, annually. No excuses. Once you know what you want, and you know the activity, the actions that it takes to bring that to pass, and you focus and commit to that vision and that activity, now it is simply a matter of doing a weekly autopsy, if you will, on what you did or didn't do to achieve your goals. And then, of course, holding yourself accountable. No excuses. You're in business for yourself, therefore you're the CEO. So at your board meeting, you ask yourself this question weekly or daily. I like to do it weekly, Sundays in particular. Mr. CEO, how's business? Okay, how is business? And your plumb line is the work that you've done early on with developing your vision, your activity, your goals, your deadlines, and then, of course, your focus and your commitment. My name's Tom Yakupin. This is the Tom Yakupin Podcast. You can find us just about anywhere, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, you name it. You can visit us online at tomyakupin.com. I want to thank you for tuning in. If you got something out of this today, like us, share us with a friend. Bye for now. Special thanks to West Penn Life and Health, one of our sponsors. You can find them online at westpennlife.com, specializing in affordable life, health, Medicare, and retirement solutions.